98% of people lose. NoFap is a game. There are winners and there are losers. Now, what makes someone a winner in this game is their ability to transcend it, to actually reach a point where the game has become irrelevant, which is the reason you're watching this video right now. You want to reach that point, and maybe so far you've been stuck in counting streaks and using willpower. And you don't want to spend the rest of your life fighting urges and resisting and all of that bullshit. What you want is to break free from that cycle for good. To reach a point where you don't even want to watch corn anymore. Not for a day or a week or a month, but forever. And I will show you how to do that. But first, it's very important for you to understand why 98% of guys lose. And for that, I'm gonna give you 5 rules that most guys don't know, including you, because if you did, you wouldn't be watching this video right now. And why should you listen to me? Well, my name is Danny Banchev. I'm the founder of the Off Corn Academy. I used to struggle with that stuff for a decade of my life. I mean, there were days where I was jerking off 5 times per day. And after studying that for way more than 100 hours and failing literally hundreds of times, I finally discovered a formula to break free for good. And now I've used it to help hundreds of men do the same. So without waiting any longer, let's jump into the 5 rules to win the NoFap game. Rule number 1, whatever you resist persists. Now that is something that I talked about in my video about Carl Jung. It's what I learned from him. Whatever you resist persists. The problem is that so many guys out there, maybe you, at least it was my case, guys are just terrified of urges. They have associated so much pain in the past to experiencing these urges that now what they're trying to do is run away from it or resist them. The problem is that where focus goes, energy flows. So if you give power to what you don't want, I don't want that, I don't want that, you're giving it energy. It's just like when you say, I'm on a fight, I'm gonna fight that. By definition, my brother, when you're in a fight, there's also an opponent. When you're in a battle, there's the enemy. So what happens is you're creating an enemy out of pixels on a screen, out of lifeless little colors combining into forming naked bodies of people who don't even know you or you don't know yourself and you don't care about. And you're making that your enemy. While the truth is that you are in control of your hands and it's just a choice you're making based on the neural associations you've made to corn. You've associated pleasure to it, you've associated as a way for you to escape some pain or meet some emotional needs. There's a reason why you associated some pleasure to it, and that's it. That's why you're making a choice to watch it. It's not a fight. And you don't even need to resist it. You just need to understand the truth. You need to let these sexual urges that are almost a gift because they give you all this energy, this creative power, this motivation, this optimism. You need to accept it and let it pass through you. Let it come and go as a natural part of life. But Danny, they've created so much pain in my life, and if I stop resisting, wouldn't I let them take control? The reason you feel out of control is because you have been resisting them. Try to open yourself up. Instead of going, oh, no, please, no, not now. Go, give it to me. Give it all. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you got. And just stay conscious and stay in control of your hands. Let it pass through you. You're going to see in 5 minutes, maybe 15, who knows. But in a little bit of time, it'll just come and go. Instead of being, oh my God, like starting to fearing it, and then your whole day becomes like this fight and this fear, and what if I relapse, what if I relapse? And then you give so much energy that you end up doing it. That is the number 1 mistake that people make. Don't use willpower alone. It does not work. Willpower is very uncomfortable, and by definition, the reason you watch corn is to avoid uncomfortable emotions. You realize that? So the more discomfort you create and the more resistance you create inside of you, the more you're going to want to escape that and go back to it. So instead, let it pass through you. Open yourself up to the full human experience. It's just part of the game, brother. And it's okay. You can use it or it's going to use you. So might as well use it. Don't resist it. Cool. Rule number 2, avoid the plaster solutions. The plaster solutions. Haven't we all tried a corn blocker before? Or an application that gives you a form. Are you really addicted? You answer to a few questions, and then it gives you a 30-day plan to break free. If that stuff really worked, I wouldn't have that many people in my community. And when I ask them, that is like basically in every call, when I ask people, okay, so what have you tried before? They say, oh, like corn blockers and all that stuff. It doesn't work because it focuses on the superficial part of the problem. It's like if I tell you, I point a gun at your parents' head and I said 6 months without porn or I shoot them. What's gonna happen? Of course you're gonna quit. There's no doubt about that. But what happens as soon as I remove the gun and I say your parents are safe forever? You're gonna go right back to it within a few weeks. Why? Because you haven't dealt with the root cause. You've dealt only with a plaster solution, having a gun to your parents' head. Now that is just a metaphor to make you understand that until you deal with the root cause, which is your desire to watch it. We talked about earlier how it's a coping mechanism. You have some difficult emotions you want to escape from. You have emotional needs that you're trying to meet with it, and you've associated it. You've built a story around it. You've taken pixels on a screen, and you've created this whole thing around it, and now you have a desire to watch it. Until you deal with that, no matter how many blockers you put on, you're gonna find a way to watch it. By the way, the more something is forbidden, the more attractive it becomes. Let's say the truth. Isn't that true? We are attracted to taboo things, which is why putting shame around it, making it even more taboo, doesn't work. By the way, before we go into the next steps, I just want to let you know that the information I'm about to tell you and all of the action steps I'm about to give you is all you need to solve that problem by yourself. You absolutely don't need to give me any money to buy my courses or my coaching programs, but in full transparency, it's also just generic information. It's public information, advice to everybody. So if you're the type of person that wants to solve that problem in the fastest way possible, you're absolutely done with it, you are committed to solving that for good, and you want my personal help, where I've done that with hundreds of men, I've seen everything, believe me, and you want to share with me your own unique situation, and you want my personal advice where we can create your own personalized action plan, then you can schedule your completely free coaching call with me. The link is in the description. In all cases, I got you, but that will be the fastest solution. Okay, rule number 3, focus on creating your future identity. Create your identity. It's a process that I call neural creative conditioning. So here's something very interesting to understand. Let me use the easiest example there is, which is money. We all want to make a little bit more money. It's okay. Okay. So let's say you want to make $10,000 per month, or you're someone who already makes it, which some of my viewers are. So let's say you want to make $100K per month or $1 million per month. And to you, that is like the ultimate form of abundance. Like it's just, wow, with $1 million per month, truly I don't need anything more. Let me ask you a question. What is it that you want? Is it the actual paper with faces of people you don't even know who they are, if we're being honest? Is that what you want? Or digits in your bank app that you have X amount of money and it gives you these pixels? Is that what you really want? Or do you want the feeling that comes with it? Do you want the abundance? The significance, maybe, the sense of achievement, the sense of freedom that comes with it? Of course, it's the feeling. And it's the same with relationships, by the way, or with your dream body. The reason you want a relationship is the love, the affection, the meaning that it gives you. The reason you want the body is the confidence, the energy, the power that comes with it. So you want a feeling. Where are feelings coming from? Where are feelings coming from? The air or the brain, the nervous system? Where is it coming from? It's the inside. It comes from the inside. But wait a minute, Danny. You're telling me everything I've ever wanted is just a feeling and it's coming from the inside? Yes, absolutely. But I'm not done. That's where neurocreative conditioning comes in. Have you ever watched a movie where you knew damn well it was fiction, yet you still experienced emotions? Maybe it was a scary movie where your heart started beating faster. Maybe you got a jump scare when a scary scene happened. Maybe you watched a sad movie and you cried. I did. Why? We know it's fiction. We know it's imagination. Why do we still experience emotions? Because our subconscious mind on an emotional level, on a hormonal level, doesn't make the difference between imagination and reality. So what does that mean? Everything we've ever wanted is a feeling. Feelings come from inside, and we get to create the feelings that we want with the power of imagination. Now, if we accept the fact that feelings, states, create action, and action creates results. For example, the pointing gun at your parents thing, right? It created some emotions in you of fear, of urgency. I gotta freaking get that shit done. So whatever I tell you, you're gonna do it. Feelings create action. Action creates results. So the number one mistake that most people make, I'm giving you the sauce right now, not even writing here, just listen. The number one mistake that people make is they go, first I'll make the money, then I'll feel abundance. First I'll get the relationship, then I'll feel love. First I'll quit corn, then I'll feel freedom and achievement and a sense of peace. But what I'm saying is, why don't we create that feeling first? And that feeling will automatically lead to the right action, and the right action will lead to the right result. So it's this beautiful upward cycle, it's this feedback loop. We've all had moments where corn was irrelevant. You were having so much fun, your life was so meaningful, you didn't think about corn in that moment. So what happened to all these other reasons you believe you're addicted and it's out of your control? That's bullshit. It comes from your state. So all of this to say, when you focus with the power of imagination to visualize your future identity, you feel as if it's already happening and you're creating these beautiful states inside of you. Corn becomes irrelevant, and you do that often and more and more and more until it becomes your new emotional home, your new emotional standard, and that's when it becomes your identity. How did I become a professional public speaker? I used to be the kid that was diagnosed with social anxiety, super shy, insecure. I didn't talk to my crush for 4 years in high school, couldn't say a word to her. Presentations were my deepest fear. I almost dropped out of drama class and I was ready to fail, and I knocked on the director's door and I said, I'm not doing improv, put 0 on my sheet, I don't care. So how the hell do I go from this to being a professional public speaker? Well, obviously I had to step out of my comfort zone, had to face my fear, had to approach strangers, get in front of people. Obviously, that's part of it. But what people don't see, and that's when they go, oh, you're just a natural, oh, you're just a gift you have. What people don't see is that I spent years, my little whiteboard, I had another whiteboard, my little whiteboard, doing presentations in front of nobody. Not even the camera, because technically right now, there's no one in the room, so I'm speaking to you guys. Who knows, maybe this video will get thousands of views, maybe 10, who knows. But I used to do it without even a camera. So I spoke in front of nobody. I would still ask questions. So who can relate to that? And then I'll point, and then I'll interact with people that didn't exist. If you look at me from the side, you think this guy is crazy. But when it was time to do my first speaking gig, my paid speaking gig, and I came in front of the crowd and I just started speaking as if I've always done it. Well, guess what? I have done it for years before. Identity is built on proof, but proof can either come from actual events or events that happen in your imagination, and your subconscious mind cannot make the difference. Okay, that was a long point, but I just dropped sauce. That could be a video by itself. I might do that actually. Okay. Rule number 4, challenge yourself. I call that immersive action therapy. Now, it sounds very sophisticated, but it's just challenging yourself. We talked about identity, right? How it's built on proof, and part of it is your imagination, but part of it is you actually have to challenge yourself. And self-esteem, confidence, comes from not only self-trust, which I've talked about in other videos, which is like you got to keep your promise, but it also comes from having an undeniable stack of proof full of obstacles you've overcome, challenges you have faced, right? What I always say is face your fears with everything you got while surrendering what's out of your control. So typical example, you're afraid of approaching women. So what is in your control? Actually doing it. And who cares if it goes wrong? Who cares if she rejects you? That's out of your control. Okay, so it might suck and it's normal. You surrender, you let it pass through you, you accept, you let God do the rest. But you do what's in your control, which is actually stepping up and going, hi, right? That's the scariest part. It can be It can be challenging yourself socially, it can be challenging yourself with NoFap itself or whatever. Like now we know that it's bullshit, so corn recovery. It can be challenging yourself with coach hours or working out, whatever. Something that is uncomfortable. Expand your identity. Prove to yourself that you can overcome and do difficult things. And then last but not least, rule number 5, upgrade your social circle, my friends. Your social circle. We all heard the saying, you become the sum of the 5 people you spend most time with. Isn't that absolutely true? I mean, in my experience, it has. The biggest moments of progress in my life are when I got closer to someone who was ahead of me in a certain area of life, whether it's money, whether it's relationships, health. If you hang out with guys that talk about, oh, we're gooners, man, and they normalize the whole thing. That was me in high school. You know, I had this group of friends and they were talking, like we were joking about, you know, all these different corn stars. And if you hang out around these people, man, like good luck. Good luck, because environment matters. Sure, ultimately you make the choice, but it's as if, a metaphor I can give you is as if I put you in a cold freezer, all right? So I put you in the freezer and I give you hoodies, I give you blankets, and you know, you can be in that, and I just close the freezer. You're gonna do some push-ups, you're gonna do some jumping jacks, you're gonna move, you're gonna wear all of these, but eventually the freezer will win. So environment matters. Environment matters. You're freeze to death eventually. Now, it's time to do a little biased CTA. Like, this point is very true, but the reason I put it at the end is because now it's time for the CTA. I have a free community of people that you can upgrade your social circle with. People that are on the same journey, that truly get you, that don't normalize it or, you know, judge you for it, but truly understand you, where you can be who you really are and share your journey. I didn't have access to that when I was recovering, and it took me a lot more time than what it could. So now I get to do that for people. And one of the biggest testimonials I get all the time is, wow, just the feeling of being able to talk about that openly with people has tremendously helped me and changed my life. Like actually, that's the testimonials we get in that community. It's completely free, by the way. I'm just saying. And in that community, you can also schedule a call with me. So that's all I got for you today. Hopefully it was very valuable. You can tell me what your favorite rule was, if you remember them. I mean, no, not if you remember them. They're just right here. So much love. Hope to see you soon in the community or just here as a viewer on another video. I'll see you soon. Much love and peace.